I'm in the beginning stages of a project, and I've already got a few looping elements that I'm happy with. I've been messing around in Session View, triggering clips to come up with new ideas. To add a little polish and sheen to my spontaneity, I'd love to have some creative effect combinations and sequences ready to audition when the moment of inspiration strikes. Here are the sounds I've come up with so far. Now watch and listen to this again. After the sounds began playing, I triggered this clip. It resulted in all of the sounds being processed by a pre-programmed effects sequence created by this device chain down here. It would be easy to assume that this is simply the result of clip envelopes or automation. But what really happened when I triggered that clip? The resulting effects sequence was processing several tracks simultaneously. Would that even be possible while triggering only a single clip if I'm using clip automation or clip envelopes? Not really, because those control features are embedded within individual clips and will only impact that clip. I would have needed to create the exact same chain of devices on each track, as well as reproduce the same envelopes or automation for each clip playing. But that's not what occurred. There aren't any effect devices on these other tracks. And the effect sequence only occurred when I triggered a totally different clip altogether. So what's going on here? The answer is dummy clips. Dummy clips are regular audio and MIDI clips that don't contain any audio or MIDI. You did hear that right. Instead of outputting audio or MIDI, dummy clips process audio or MIDI routed through them. Essentially, they're empty vessels that contain device instructions which you control. These instructions can accomplish a variety of tasks, including what you just heard, a sequence of events triggered by a single clip processing multiple channels simultaneously. Allow me to demonstrate. I have my tracks, each containing a looping audio clip, and over here I have a track labeled dummy. Take notice of two things. First, I've routed the audio of all of the first tracks to the dummy track. And second, there are several clips on the dummy track itself. Initially, this might not seem like it makes too much sense. Routing multiple audio sources to a single output is certainly a common practice. You can use the group function to control mixer and trigger actions for multiple tracks, or you can route multiple audio sources to an audio or return track to process them together like a bus. But you can't place a clip in a group or return track, and it wouldn't seem to make sense to place a clip in an audio track that has multiple tracks routed to it. You can only listen to the rerouted tracks or the audio clip, but not both simultaneously. So here's the thing. The audio clips on this dummy track don't actually contain any audio. They're empty. Well, not exactly empty. There isn't any audio present, but there are actions lurking behind the scenes waiting to be triggered. Listen to what happens when I trigger the clip 2-bar low cut to reverb. It creates the effect transition described in the name. The low end is cut for 2 measures and then ends up in a splash of reverb. Now I want you to listen again while I trigger another clip named 2-bar redux delay. Another transition effect occurs, but this time with completely different devices. Multiple sequences, each creating their own dynamic effects transition. And they all come from different plug-in devices. It's a repository of improvisational effects tools at my immediate disposal, like pre-programming intricate device automation for spontaneous use, or an automation event macro that you can trigger on a whim. But here's the really cool part. I can now record a complex track arrangement on the fly using all of these transitions, all without having to create automation for each plugin parameter. Tabbing over to Arrange View, I can see that the dummy clips have been recorded along with the audio clips. I'll jump back and hit play. You can clearly hear that Live plays back the actions created by the dummy clips. I can now move or cut or paste or copy any of these clips as I see fit. I can also change the output routing of the individual audio tracks to remove them from the dummy clip signal path, or I can route new tracks which weren't previously being processed. With just a little bit of prep work, I now have the ability to improvise polished track arrangements complete with complex FX transitions. This is just one of the many things that dummy clips can do for you.